Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be making my predictions for Game Week 24 of the 25-26 Premier League season. But before we begin, let's see how I did last week. I got two scorelines bang on. I got Fulham beating Brighton 2-1 and Everton and Leeds drawing 1-1 correct, plus 3 more outcomes correct, so that's 9 points, taking my season total up to 138. And this is how the table looks after 23 matches. And without further ado, let's predict this weekend's coming matches. And we're going to start with Leeds United against Arsenal. It's at Elland Road. Leeds have been getting quite draws over the line recently. And at home, I do like them. But Arsenal's form's kind of tailed off a bit too at the minute. They've been quite kind of struggling with their form recently, although they are off the back of a 3-2 defeat to Manchester United. We'll talk more about them later. Leeds obviously off the back of a 1-1 draw against Everton on Monday night. If it was at the Emirates, I would be fancying Arsenal more. But I do think Leeds can get something at home. I'll go for a 2-2 draw. I think there'll be goals in this one. But I do think that will be a point apiece and a dead end. 2-2. Next up, we've got Wolves against Bournemouth. And, well, Wolves' unbeaten streak in 2026 came to an end with a 2-0 defeat to Manchester City last game week. Bournemouth with a 3-2 victory against Liverpool. Did predict Bournemouth to get a result there. The game is at Molineux, and I do kind of trust Wolves at home at the minute, and Bournemouth, one thing they do is they like to score goals, but they don't tend to get many results over the line. This could be a Wolves win, but I'm going to chicken out and go for a 1-1 draw. I think, well, a point wouldn't really help Wolves, but I do think they're pretty much dead and buried now. Bournemouth, a point wouldn't really help them either in a scrap for Europe, but I do think a point apiece will be the outcome. Next up, we've got Brighton against Everton. And, well, this is an interesting one because if you look back on Brighton's last 10 results, it's actually a pretty bad run of form. And Everton, they've been alright. They did beat Aston Villa 1-0 recently. And they're off the back of the 1-0 draw against Leeds. Because Keenan Dewsbury Hall is back playing, he's back fit, so that could be good. But it's at the Amex, and I do still think Brighton's a good side. They're good enough to get something, but both sides do quite like draws at the minute. I'll go for a 1-1 draw. I think both fairly mid-table, and I think that's why. I think they draw a lot of games, so I'm going for another one, 1-1. Next up, we've got Chelsea against West Ham United. And West Ham off the back of a 3-1 win against Sunderland last Saturday. And Chelsea off the back of a 3-1 win themselves against Crystal Palace. It's tricky, but the game is at Stamford Bridge, and West Ham are on a pretty good run of form to try and get out this relegation zone, out the relegation scrap. But I mean, Liam Rossini is doing a pretty good job at Chelsea recently, and they got the comeback win 3-2 against Napoli in the Champions League as well. I I'm just going to back Chelsea. I think it's going to be close, but Chelsea win it 2-1. I think Chelsea get 3 points to remain in and around the top 4. So 2-1 to Chelsea. Next up, we've got Liverpool against Newcastle United. And both these sides are coming off the back of a defeat last week. Liverpool 3-2 losers to Bournemouth. Newcastle 2-0 losers to Aston Villa. Villa in their title race. Liverpool aren't on the best run of form in the Prem recently, are they? And the tricky thing is Newcastle are pretty bad on the road this season as well. But I do think Newcastle are improving all the time this season. I do think that despite their bad run of form on the road, I think Newcastle might actually get the win. I don't know if I can back Liverpool at the minute in the Premier League. This may be crazy, but let's go Newcastle. 2-1. I think they might actually rock up to Anfield and get the 3 points. The likes of maybe Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon, maybe even Johan Wissa might score, but I'm going 2-1 to the Magpies. And then we move on to tomorrow's matches. It's Aston Villa against Brentford. And Villa, as I said just now, off the back of a 2-0 win against Newcastle. Brentford off the back of a 2-0 defeat to Nottingham Forest at the GTEC. It seems like suddenly Brentford's goals have kind of dried up a bit here. Villa are actually, they're on level with Man City on 46 points. They're only 4 points off Arsenal at the top. I think Villa might consider themselves in the title race here. And I think Villa, seen as it is at Villa Park, I think I will go for Villa. Likes of Ollie Watkins, Morgan Rogers. There are a ton of good players that can score goals. I'm going for Villa's edge at 2-1. I think maybe Igor Thiago might score for Brentford, but I think Villa just have enough quality to win. 2-1 to Villa to keep themselves in the title hunt. Next up, we've got Manchester United against Fulham. And, well, what can we say about Manchester United since Michael Carrick has come in? 2 wins, and not only that, but the 2 wins were against Man City and Arsenal, who are obviously the top 2 in the table. Right now he's got a tune out of the players. He's got Brian Mbeumo since he's returned from AFCON. Bruno Fernandes, even Mateus Cunha scoring. Patrick Dorgu's been on a pretty good run of form recently, but he is injured for quite long term, so they might be looking for a replacement for him. And then Fulham's been on a quietly good run of form as well. Recently, I think they're up to 7th in the league. And they have just brought in Oscar Bob from Man City. I think he could score quite a few for them. But I'm sorry, Fulham fans, but with the game being at Old Trafford, I do think that Man United just have the quality with Carrick at the minute. They've got a good run of form going. I don't think it ends here. We've got Man United to win 3-1. I think Mbeumo might score a couple and maybe a Fernandes penalty. Then I'd like to see Oscar Bob score for Fulham. But 3-1 to the Red Devils. Next up, we've got Nottingham Forest against Crystal Palace. In a battle of 2 sides that are on pretty differing forms at the minute. Forest are, well, they haven't climbed up the table in terms of positions, but they're on the climb in terms of form. And Crystal Palace are well on their way down. They're down to 15th, and they're going to the City ground and against the Sean Dyche side, who is very stubborn. They like to score one, maybe 2 goals, and then like park the bus. I mean, Crystal Palace are an absolute wreck at the minute. They are a mess. Forest, it's at the City ground. I can't back against Forest here. Palace could score, but Forest tend to keep clean sheets a lot. I'm actually going for Forest to win and keep a clean sheet. Going for Forest to win 2-0. Think maybe Igor Jesus scores, and who else? Maybe Elliot Anderson with a surprise goal, who knows. But I'm going 2-0 to Forest. Next up, we've got Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester City. And this is another interesting one. Spurs off the back of in the Premier League, off the back of a 2-2 draw against Burnley. Man City off the back of the 2-0 win against Wolves. The thing is, Spurs have got a lot of injuries recently. We've got Richarlison out. James Maddison is obviously, he's still out. Mohamed Kudus is on the bench. The thing is, though, in the past, Tottenham has been Man City's bogey team. They have taken results off of them quite frequently. But, and it is at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but Man City they're alright. I mean, both sides coming off the back of impressive 2-0 wins midweek in the Champions League. Tottenham 2-0 winners against Eintracht Frankfurt, and Man City 2-0 against Galatasaray. But I just think City's got more quality. Could see it going either way, but I'm going to go Man City 2-1. I think Haaland might score again, but 2-1 to Man City to keep up the title charge. And then finally, on Monday night, we've got Sunderland against Burnley in a big game this could be as well. Burnley have been on a pretty decent run of form. They like to draw a lot of games. But Sunderland, since, the likes of Traore, Ronaldo has, and, since their players have returned from AFCON, they've been pushing more. They've been scoring more goals again. Still unbeaten at home this season at the Stadium of Light. Burnley's, they have just signed James Ward-Prowse, so he could be good at set pieces. We know that from Southampton days, but I just think Sunderland have too much. It could be a draw, but I'm going Sunderland to win 2-1. I think the Black Cats will get the 3 points at home and push further up the table. 2-1 to the Black Cats. And there you have it, guys. All 10 Premier League matches for this weekend predicted. Make sure to let me know your predictions in the comments down below. And yeah, we'll see how well these turn out to be next week as ever. And I'll see you all in the next one.